What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here. So I want to do a video, but I didn't feel like doing an album review or a vinyl update or, I don't know, some long drawn out discussion video. So about a week or so ago, I had you guys send me a bunch of random questions so I could do a Q&A video, and here we are. So yeah, I had somebody go through and pick about 15 questions for me to answer here, and you know, something a little different. You know how we do. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know that this video is being sponsored by The Coldest Water, a company that makes these great water bottles that keep your water cold for up to 36 hours. Also, it has no sweat technology, and it is odor resistant. I absolutely love this bottle, and if you guys want to enter a giveaway to get one of your own, there's a link down there in the description section. Click it. Or if you'd like to buy one of your own straight out, you can use my promo code and get 10% off your entire order. That link is in the description section as well. So I'm gonna put this right here, and yeah, let's get into it. The first question comes from Nathan, and he says, "Hey Myke, I've seen you talk on your channel about great country artists such as Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings. I was curious to know about how you got into country music and what are some of your personal favorite country albums and artists." So yeah, I got into country music through my dad. He used to play a few select country artists in the house, Hank Williams Jr. being one of them, who I think he got into him because Hank had a song with Ray Charles called Two Old Cats Like Us. And I don't know if my dad would still listen to Hank since he turned into such a racist piece of shit as of late. But I don't know, once I moved from California to Georgia, I got more into country music, and now I'm a pretty big fan, I'd say. I think a lot of black folks kind of dismiss country music because of the racist element there, but there are plenty of country artists that are not racist. As far as some of the artists that I love outside of Merle, I do still like Hank Jr.'s older music. I love Waylon. I like his son Shooter. I feel like 4th of July is a perfect country song. I also like Cash, of course, George Jones, Johnny Paycheck, Willie Nelson, Steve Earle, Hank Sr., of course, some of Hank 3. I'm not much of a fan of like modern pop country. To be honest, I think most of that shit is absolute trash. Next one comes from Tom, and he says, "Hello from Liverpool. Who would be on your horror Mount Rushmore? Mine would be Hitchcock, Carpenter, Argento, and Raimi." Mine would be George Romero, Dario Argento, Wes Craven, and John Carpenter. What if I said Rob Zombie? Like, would you guys get really mad and like unsub and shit? I mean, you should if I did say that. Or like, what if I say like Eli Roth? That'd be fucking hilarious. God, Green Inferno. Did you guys see that? What an absolute pile of fucking garbage that movie was. Moving on. Jonathan asks, "Are you a fan of the Mars Volta? If so, do you have a favorite album of theirs?" I feel like Mars Volta is a band that I should like, but I never really got into them. I have one CD by them, the Tremulant EP, and I don't even know if I've ever actually listened to it. The little I've heard hasn't really grabbed me, but I did like At the Drive-In a lot. I like them more than anything that I've heard from the Mars Volta, but I'm not opposed to digging into the Mars Volta. Maybe I'll do that for like an Out of My Element video or something. Dylan asks, "I've been listening to quite a bit of Elliott Smith recently, not because I'm sad or anything, and I was wondering if you had an opinion on his music. Love your videos." Thanks, Dylan. Yeah, I love Elliott Smith. What sad boy doesn't love Elliott Smith? I've been a fan of his for years, man. I never saw him though, unfortunately. My relationship with that end of the emo spectrum is a bit complicated. You know, when Elliott Smith was really, really popular, I was way more into hardcore and metal. So going to see Elliott perform on a stage by himself with an acoustic guitar just didn't sound like a great time to me. You know, not like seeing Cannibal Corpse, you know, 5 dudes on stage with synchronized hair whips. That was way more appealing to me in those days. But I do regret not seeing Elliott Smith play. I guess I always figured I'd get around to it at some point, and then he died, and I realized how big of a mistake I'd actually made. You didn't ask, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. My favorite album is From a Basement on the Hill. The song Twilight is probably my favorite song of his, man. The lyrics are just some perfect down in the dumps, you know, my girl left me for a jock with a bigger bigger bank account and a much bigger dick. And yeah, his life just was getting better because he was getting out of his drug addiction, but it still ended in tragedy after a fight with his girl, man. It's just some serious, true sad boy shit. Saidar asks, favorite movie from these directors? Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Christopher Nolan, Spike Lee. For Martin Scorsese, I'm gonna go with Taxi Driver. For Steven Spielberg, I'm gonna go with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. For Christopher Nolan, I'm gonna go with Inception. And for Spike Lee, Bamboozled. Jared asks, do you keep a list / document of all the records you own? P.S. This question was inspired by a recent Henry Rollins interview I heard where he said he writes down every time he listens to a record, which blew my mind but also made total sense as exactly the sort of intense approach you would expect Rollins would have. I haven't seen that interview, but what's the point of writing down every album you listen to? Like, do you put it on the list if you don't actually finish the album? Like, how much of the album do you have to listen to before you can put it on the list? Like, I don't know. I have a lot of questions about that. It just seems goofy. But yes, I do keep a list of all of the records and CDs that I buy, but that's because I have an awful memory. I always have. I keep it on my phone because if I don't check this list while I'm out buying shit, I will buy multiple copies of the same thing. It happens all the time. I still fuck up, even with the list, and buy multiple copies of shit. So, what are you gonna do? Seth says, I always wanted to hear your thoughts on the Suicide Boys, considering they have very dark content, plus they're pretty decent rappers. So I actually get this question a lot. I think people kind of assume that I would like Suicide Boys based on the noisy, dark kind of hip-hop that I like. And I've checked them out a few times, and they just don't connect with me. I think they're cool, like, you know, what they make is interesting, but nothing I've heard makes me want to return to it or listen to anything else by them. I don't know why, but it just comes across as the kind of angsty music that someone like Jake Paul and his friends would listen to when they're getting hyped up at their pool parties. Why do I think that? I have no idea. And that's no detriment to Suicide Boys. It's just what pops into my fucked up brain. But I put them in that bucket with Ghostmane, another person who I think makes interesting music, but I have zero desire to actually listen to it. But that's no diss to either one of them. Croissant asks, what do you think was the best year in hip-hop? Croissant. We at Dead End Hip Hop, we had a whole video on this, bro. And not only us, we even had the homie James Acaster in the video, man. Where the fuck have you been? Get it together, homie. And speaking of James Acaster, Toby asked, did you get around to finishing James Acaster's book? And if so, what are your thoughts? I did finish his book, and I actually thought it was brilliant, man. For those of you that don't know, James Acaster, the famous comedian, he wrote this book based on his life in 2017 and how he was going through a personal and professional dark time around then and prior to then in the year 2016. And he kind of found solace in music, which definitely speaks to me. And that led to him coming to this realization that 2016 was the best year for music. And he talks about it in his book. And there's so many anecdotal things in that book. It's really, really great. And for those of you that don't know, there's a very minor part in the book in which James mentions your boy, and it's still a mind fuck that someone like James Acaster even knows what the fuck I am. But yeah, it's a great book. I'm actually gonna read it again, probably. But if you're a music fan, I definitely suggest checking this book out because it's really, really written well, and it speaks a lot to music nerds like myself. Alan asks, hey Myke, what was the last movie you saw in the theaters and the last concert you went to before the world went into a pandemic? The last movie I saw was The Hunt, which was okay. Not bad, not great, just kind of okay. You know, it was a fun movie, but, you know, it's not the film I'd want to go out on if I wasn't going to be able to see anything else for a really long period of time. The last concert I went to, however, was Algiers at a club down the road, and that shit was amazing. It was my first time seeing them, maybe my last, who knows. But they were just incredible. A lot of passion and energy on that stage, and I think because they knew that this was going to be the last show for a really long time, because they said that. But it'd be really cool if that was the last show I saw before quarantine, and that was actually the first show that I went to after all this mess ends, if it ever ends, because, you know, you fuckheads won't stay inside the goddamn house or put a fucking mask on. Dipshits. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it looks like Kwehi Timok. Again, I apologize, but that person asks, what's your favorite movie of 2020 so far? I don't know that I really have a favorite movie. I guess The Lodge. I really enjoyed that movie. I know some folks didn't love it. They thought it was boring, and then some folks thought it was disrespectful to people with mental illness, which, whatever. I thought the atmosphere was great, and I thought the story worked really well for me personally. I know some folks love shit like The Platform, which I thought was lame. People like The Wretched, which I also thought was lame. After Midnight, Come to Daddy, Swallow, lame, and lame. Relic was just okay to me, but as you guys have probably noticed with that list, I mostly watch horror movies or artsy-fartsy shit. But I haven't actually seen that many 2020 films so far this year, so I could have missed a masterpiece. So hey, drop some suggestions down there for the kid. Alright? Keenan asks, my question is, do you get the sense that this country is on the verge of a full-blown revolution? And if so, what are you personally doing to prepare for it? No and nothing. We're going through a transitional time, I think, and hopefully that leads us into a more positive era for a lot of us. But I actually think that really depends on what happens in November. All jokes aside, I fear that regardless of the outcome, some crazy shit is about to go down because both sides are so tense and ready to flip. So we'll see what happens, man. Devin asks, like you, I listen to disparate genres all the time. Curious to know, do you go through phases like listening to nothing but black metal, then 3 weeks of rap, and then you're on country and folk and so on? Or is it everything all the time? Not really, man. I mean, phases happen, but it's fairly rare for me. Usually I'll get in moods, but it's really multiple moods a day. I might listen to black metal for a couple of hours and then get in the mood to listen to hip hop for a couple more hours, and then get in the mood for some industrial, maybe a country album. There are occasional times where I'll get stuck in a black metal mood that may last a few days, but it's rarely more than that. Robert asks, do you like Nirvana or any of the other Seattle grunge bands? So I got into Nirvana in either middle school or high school. I can't remember. I thought Nevermind was a fantastic album, but I didn't know what grunge was. You know, I thought Nirvana was a punk band. And to a degree, I still think they were a punk band, but that's a completely different discussion. As far as other Seattle grunge bands, I never got into Alice in Chains. I never got into Soundgarden at all. I did like Pearl Jam's 10 album for a hot minute when it came out. Backstreet Lover on the side of the road. I got a bomb in my temple and it's gonna explode. I got a 16 gauge buried under my clothes. I pray once upon a time. I kind of wonder if I would still like that shit. I haven't heard it probably since high school. I should go put that shit on after this video. I'll let you guys know if I still like it. I did like that Temple of the Dog album quite a bit too. That fucking Hunger Strike song, seriously, is one of the most beautiful and amazing songs ever written. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going hungry, yeah! Zaki says, rate my cat. Alright, well, let's see what your cat looks like here. Okay, dude, this is a fucking terrible picture, man. Your cat could have half an ear and one eye, and I wouldn't know. Not that that would make the cat not cute, but I'm just saying there's no way for me to judge your cat based on this. The cat's face isn't even showing. It's not even a good picture at all. Like, what did you take this on? Did you take this fucking picture on a flip phone? A Sidekick? A TI-85 calculator? This shit looks like you took the picture from 4 blocks away with a Polaroid camera using the zoom, and then took the printed out picture to Office Max, you copied it on a printer, and then printed it out again, and then scanned it and emailed it to me. Like, come on, bro, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Like, your cat deserves better than this, man. Way better. Nick asks, 1, what is a hobby / passion of yours that the majority of your followers probably do not know about? 2, do you have any hidden talents? Can be useful or totally useless? I think I've gotten this question before, but I'll answer anyway. I don't know if there are any real hobbies that you guys don't know about, especially any that are actually exciting. Other than collecting records, I also sketch with charcoal. I used to do watercolor a lot, acrylics. I've been saying that I'm going to get back into it, and now I feel like it's probably the best time to do that. I don't have any real examples of my work. It's a long story, but they were all destroyed. I think I have some things that I did when I was in art school, but I also used to play piano, and I've been playing with the idea of relearning piano. But hidden talents, no, I'm pretty talentless. That's why I sit on YouTube and talk to you guys about bullshit all the time, because I have no talent to do anything else. So, what was me? But yeah, that's gonna do it for this Q&A video. If you sent a question and noticed that your question was not answered, I'm definitely gonna do another one of these, maybe in a couple of weeks. So hopefully I'll get to your question. Also, some of the questions that you guys sent in would make better What Do You Want to Know videos, because they need longer explanations. So yeah. But thanks to everybody that sent a question in. You guys are awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. What's that? That's wrong. That's wrong. That's what that is. That's wrong. Peace out, boy.